Hey, what's going on? Vince Rapsardi, Big Blue Unbiased.com. I'm going to skip the mock draft for today. I'll have that tomorrow, probably in the morning. I'm going to give you an update, a little New York Giants update, some news. There's usually not much going on this time of year, and even this update is kind of like, whatever. But the Giants have hired Carter Blount to be a defensive quality control coach. They took him away from Tennessee, where he was working under Jeremy Pruitt, who is now on the Giants staff. And this is breaking news, but he worked with Joe Judge at Alabama. At Alabama, they worked together. Joe Judge, it's crazy. You never see that. Usually Joe Judge he's just finding guys on the streets, some randos. But no, he this time he went and used one of his connections. He got on his LinkedIn page and he found a connection. Obviously, they had coached together at Alabama, and usually you don't see this from Joe Judge. Just kidding, right? Of course. I mean, this is another Alabama connection, another Alabama hire, and another college coaching hire. I talked about this in my last video when the Giants hired Russ Callaway a few days ago, and he was in the college ranks. He coached with Joe Judge at Alabama. What I noticed, aside from them being Joe Judge connections, which is the obvious part, I do think that they are purposely, or Joe Judge is purposely, trying to bring in college coaches because the college game is, I think, what the Giants want to emulate with their own team. They want it to be more team-oriented. I think that's fairly obvious. They want to build a strong culture. That's kind of their thing. That's what Dave Gettleman wanted to do from day one, is build a strong locker room after the 2017 team had a tough year in the locker room. They had a disastrous culture, and Ben McAdoo got fired before the end of the year. So they wanted to fix that, and that's the direction that they're heading in. That doesn't mean that they're going to win a ton of games. I want that to be clear. We'll see. They have to win games. At the end of the day, even if you have a crazy locker room, as long as you win football games, you're fine. If you look at the 2016 Giants, that was an interesting group. Okay, that was an interesting locker room. But they won football games, so there was really no turmoil. There were some big personalities, but the turmoil was not there because they won. If you don't win, you see what happens in 2017, where they had a lot of big personalities, and they didn't win, and it was a disaster. So at the end of the day, you just got to win. You got to have talented players. I do think the locker room culture thing can be a little bit overrated at times. I would prefer it personally. If I were to have a team, you want a good culture. So I definitely don't think it's a bad thing, but it doesn't guarantee success. Let's just understand that. So I believe, this is just my opinion here. I'm gonna give you my opinion here. I do think they're trying to build a college-oriented team where it's team first. It's less about one or two players. It's not a me team, but it's a team. And you see that more in college, where, of course, there's star players on college teams, but in the NFL, you see a player like Odell, we saw with the Giants. He really he brought a lot of attention to himself. Whether that's good or bad, that's up to you. Some people have different opinions on that. On the Odell situation, some people have different opinions, and they're fine with him doing what he did. Okay, that's fine. But the Giants don't want to do that. And I think that they're trying to bring in a lot of college coaches to try and emulate a college culture where it's more about the team. And this is just my belief. Again, I'll give you my opinion here. I do think it's a lot easier to do that when you have a young team. Bunch of young players. That's what the Giants have. It's a very very young team. I mean, most of this roster is just a buildup of 3-4 draft classes of Dave Gettleman's draft, 2018, 2019, 2020, the upcoming 2021 draft. It's a young football team. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to build a strong foundation with young guys who have to prove themselves. Very few of them have become stars. Saquon Barkley has become a very, very good player, but he's done a nice job being fairly humble, really. I mean, you never see any sort of distraction with Saquon Barkley. So for all the people who do really, really don't like the Saquon Barkley pick, at least you could say for a really, really good player at his position, the former second overall pick, he's done a really nice job of not really letting the spotlight of New York get to him. Certainly has handled it better than Odell in terms of everything. So that's that. I think that these hires are not just about Joe Judge connections, which is the kind of obvious part, but I think it's about creating that college-like culture where it's more about the team than the individual player. It's just kind of how it goes. I think many people kind of understand the difference between professional and college sports in general. I think that's why a lot of people love college basketball. And the NBA, it's like very star-driven, and then college basketball is like, those are like good games. Those are team games. So that's kind of my take on that. So Carter Blount, the Giants have hired him, defensive quality control coach. He joins back with Joe Judge, Jeremy Pruitt. The Giants, they keep adding to their coaching staff. And that's all I got for this update. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.